How's it going, guys? This is Tim from G.I.Joe Immortal, and today you're looking at my display right here. I set these up about once a week just to change out my scene. But today we are going to review this, which is the Cobra Wolf. So let's get to it. I'm going to clear the board here, and we will go through it. Oh, I'm going to get my wolf down. I have the sheet. This Cobra Wolf I picked up in 2014. This is the newest model, although it is pretty much exactly like the original, other than maybe some color variations and maybe a couple different features, but for the most part, it's almost identical. So we're going to look at the Cobra Wolf. First off, we'll take a look at and see what it says about the original, which is right here. The winter operational light fighting vehicle includes the Ice Viper figure. And there's a shot of it right there. As you can see, it looks exactly like mine. Although mine's 2014. I don't have the 1987 version. I do have the 87 figure. But the Wolf comes equipped with the following features: a pivoting rear ski support arm, two removable snarl snow environment advanced attack range laser, ski torpedoes, that's a mouthful, two removable rear skis for troop transportation, a crossweave carbon-based skis, a dual track propulsion unit, flip down rear treads, four WHAM winter-oriented heavy ordnance surface-to-air missiles. They got to have an acronym for everything, so that's just G.I. Joe. Mounted within an elevating missile rack, pivoting remote missile launch paddle, pivoting and positionable Ripper 20mm double-barreled repeating cannons, and a blue-tinted tandem cockpit with opening canopies for the front pilot command seat and the rear high-visibility rear gunner seats. Then there's the original, the Wolf, which stands for the Winter Operational Light Fighting Vehicle. And there's the lost pieces, but I have everything of mine. You can probably find an original for around 85 to 100 bucks, if you can find one. I already have the 2014. I'm happy with that. And then we'll also take a look at the figure in a moment. There he is right there. But for right now, let's get into this vehicle. As you can see, here's the front with the skis. And we're just going to go over what it says. The Snarl Snow Environment Advanced Attack Range Laser is number 1, which would be these right here. The ski torpedoes right there, number 1 and 2. And those just slide out like so. They slide right out, and they would travel along the snow, hit their target, and explode. And then you can slide them right back in. They clip right back in, which is a pretty cool feature. And then you have number 2, which is the dual track propulsion units, which they are calling these right here. Propulsion units, huh? Look like skis to me. But notice there is a lot of room for figures to be on here. You could fit, what, 2 here? I'm not sure if those would fit modern figures or not, but they may. I haven't tried them yet. And here's the back of the vehicle. And there's the side on this side. But that's the propulsion units there. Talking about the tracks on the inside, I imagine. And then pivoting rear ski support arm, which is number 3, which are these front ones here, and they do pivot. They pivot up like this. You don't really, you know, I guess for when you hit something, you can pivot them up for climbing up something. Those work really well. This vehicle here is absolutely mint condition. And I took really great pride in putting all the decals on it, and I did it as perfect as I could. But now we go to the crossweave carbon base rear skis, which are those. The tracks are these, is what they're calling the propulsion units here. As you can see, they have wheels clipped to them to make the thing rolls really well. Doesn't snag on the carpet or anything like that. It's pretty good. Pretty good for moving around. There's your skis on both sides. Then you have your center base skis and compression shocks, they call them, which is number 5. They're just calling those there up in here. Let's see those shocks there. And what else? Self-clearing sloped nose section, which is this here. Sloped nose like that. It's sloped. And then we have the dual layer internal heating canopies, which is number 7. So that's these here. I guess the sun can reflect and heat the cockpits for them. That's a good idea. I don't know if it's true or not, but I guess it could be. Then you have the pilot command seat with the heads-up display. That's number 8, which is here. We can go ahead and pop this open like so. I'm going to go ahead and get out my driver, my original. We'll take a look at him in a moment. And we'll also go ahead and move this and get out the other one, which came with the helmets. Just never want to stay on. But they came with a helmet. I don't have the helmet for him. I wish I did. Okay, well, let's keep moving on here. We got the pilot command seat with the heads-up display, and then you got the higher visibility rear gunner seat. As you can see inside, it does have controls in there. It's got the padded seats. It does have has quite a bit of controls down there. There's his weapon, his gun. I did have some size for him, but I might have him put up for right now. And there's the controls for the front, which are very good detailed seats. And very cool cockpits. They designed these really well. I think that's pretty neat. They did a good job on that. Then we've got the Ripper pivoting 20mm repeating cannons, which is number 10, is these here, the repeating cannons, and those just pop off, and you can see it will go 360 degrees, go to the rear, and will go that high up in the air, so it could cover the air too. And now we have side-mounted personnel transport platforms, which is 11, which is where you stand right here. You can put figures on there. We'll demonstrate that here in a minute. And then we have weather cutting PNVS, Pilot Night Vision System, is number 12. And I'm not sure what they're calling that. I guess I don't understand what that is. It's Weather Cutting PNVS Pilot Night Vision System. Apparently that's what it's pointing to that. So, it's pointing to this right here. So I guess that's what that is. And then, which doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't look like anything to me. And then you have 13, which are the WAM-4 Winter-Oriented Heavy Ordnance Surface-to-Air Missiles, which is pretty cool. They're tucked away like that, and then they flip up, and these slide right out. But really cool. You can take some surface-to-air out, especially if a helicopter or something's coming at you straight on. You got 4 chances to knock them out of the sky. And then you've got the pivoting remote missile launch panel, which is that. That's just the pivoting launch panel here. And then you have the gunner operated fire control computer 15, which is supposed to be housed in here. That's where your computer and all that is, which is pretty cool. It does have some detail inside there, and you can see, let me see if I can get in there for a closer look. You can see some detail in there. There is a computer in there, which is pretty neat. I wish there was access, you could have access to it, but you can't really. But then you have official G.I.Joe battle insignia specifications, which is number 16, which you turn over. That's just what's on the other side of this. But that's how you put it all together, and has the layout. But this came in the Battle Below Zero for the 50th anniversary, which came out in 2016. It was a great set, or 2014 actually, and it was a great set. I picked it up. It came with some different vehicles and figures. I believe it came with Snake Eyes and the White Skyhawk, I believe, is what they were calling it. So let's go ahead and take a look at the vehicle right here as it stands, but that's what it looks like there. And it's great for display. I enjoy putting this out. It just looks really good in a display. It's one of Cobra's better vehicles. It is definitely a Cobra design for sure. I do like the detail on the side, these side panels and the stickers, which work really good. It is just like the original. There really isn't much difference. It does have the vents on the sides for intake. Missile rack system, which it's got a lot of play value. No shooting missiles or anything like that, so kids had to use their imagination, which I like. And then that's it for the vehicle. That is the W.O.L.F. We'll take a look at the bottom here and see the detail, which is pretty hollow, which saves money. There's a little bit of detail, not much. I mean, just a little bit back here, but it's going to be, you're not going to be displaying it upside down. I mean, I would think you wouldn't do that. Okay, so let's move on to the figures. This is the figure that came with it. I do have it's a Cobra W.O.L.F driver. It's called an Ice Viper. File name is various. Primary military specialty is Arctic operations. Second military specialty is transportation. He has various birthplaces. So these guys are a regular military unit using various other types of, they came from all over the place and put together for strictly driving these vehicles in the Arctic. So Ice Viper troops are a specially trained branch of Cobra Viper forces. To become an Ice Viper, you have to prove your endurance in marine environments as a Cobra Eel frogman, then demonstrate mechanical and technical proficiency as a Techno Viper. Only then are you trained to survive in brutal Arctic conditions. Throw in a high-fat diet to help you retain body heat, and you have the perfect Ice Viper trooper. So they're saying you have to be a Cobra Eel and then a Techno Viper before you can become one of these. So these guys are quite specialized, which I didn't know that, but that's your Cobra W.O.L.F driver. Let's take a look at him. I'm going to set this up here for a moment, and we'll just kind of take a look at the figure. Let me see if I can get this towards the edge here. There we go. But there's your, he's got his helmet there. I'm going to take that. I'll go ahead and remove his helmet. And he does have the stocking mask over his face. Has an Arctic, which is attached to the belt. It is removable, but I wouldn't remove it. It does have a nice belt that goes all the way around. It's brown. It has the Cobra logo on the right side. He has some big black gloves. Pockets on the side. Has a vest over the top of that. And we also has a nice belt with a silver buckle. There's his legs there. Has the side where you can set his size that go inside there. I put them away because I didn't want to get them lost. But you know what size look like. And they always, if you put them in there, they always fall out. But there he's got some Arctic boots with the trim going around the front. Here's the back of the figure here. And this is the modern figure. So that is the driver of the Cobra Wolf. Now we'll take a look at the original. As you can see here, and they're pretty similar. They still have the same kind of uniform. He does keep his size on the side of his legs too. As the hood, he does have a helmet. I don't know if this helmet would fit on him. Not very well. So I do have to find a couple more items to complete this guy here, but he's in pretty good shape. A little bit of paint loss on the hands. But I picked this guy up on eBay for pretty cheap. And really enjoy the figure. A little bit of paint loss there too. But he's got the cross belts going around his butt there. He's got the same kind of ammo cartridge belt here. The side holders on the side with the winter boots. And that is an original figure. And it's a pretty good shape figure. And he's still pretty tight. Got a good O-ring. And joints are still pretty tight too. There's no loose. He's not loose. And I keep him as the driver or the gunner, either one. But these two guys work together, even though he's a modern figure, and I don't like to mix them. But hey, you know what? I don't mind. I just think it's cool that I have the original guy, and he can be in the in the driver's seat with the other guy. I mean, I'm perfectly fine with that. He still has the emblem here. His is red though. A little bit of wear on it, but it's still there. So let's take a look at his file card up here, which there's the Ice Viper. Like I said, he had the two sides that came with them. I do have them. I just have them put away because if I stick them on, they always end up falling off and I lose them. So that's one kind of drawback with the size. Just give them a rifle, you know. But Ice Viper's prototype code names Werewolves and Werewalruses are brisk sellers on the secondary market because of their intricate accessories and the fact that their two sides can be attached to the figure's thighs when not in use. But they don't stay there. But that's the Cobra Wolf driver, the Ice Viper, the original that I just showed you there. And I guess they don't really have his file card there, but sometimes they do in this book. Well, that's from the G.I.Joe Ultimate Guide from 1982 to 94, 3rd edition. I love this book. It's great. And I recommend you getting one if you are a collector for sure, especially of the vintage figures. I'm one of those ones that I think it's okay to get modern figures, and you know, I am not a purist. I mean, I do like the older figures, don't get me wrong, and I don't like all the brightly colored stuff in 94 and all that. I like military type soldiers here, but this is the gun that came with it. Just a little machine gun, folding stock, and it could be an Uzi or something. But that is the Cobra Wolf from 2014. And that's all I got for you today. Next, we're going to be looking at some... Oh, I just acquired a great Jeep that Johnny Lightning put out, and it works absolutely great for G.I. Joe figures and displays, and we're going to do that one shortly. And also I have a warthog, the big plane, and we're going to check that out. Warthog, uh, put out by, gosh, who was that? I put that out. I believe it was, what am I thinking of? I can't remember right now, but we're going to be checking out the Warthog. It's absolutely perfect for G.I. Joe, and it's a great looking plane, and they did a really good job on it. Peacekeepers, that's who I'm thinking of. They put one out a few years ago. I believe it was them, but I seen it and I was like, holy mackerel, I got to get that. It just looked too cool. But we'll be doing that next. But that's all for now. This is Tim from G.I. Joe Immortal with the Cobra Wolf.